has long aspired to become a key energy and logistics hub for West Africa, leveraging its strategic location along the Gulf of Guinea. Now, the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation, one of the country's boldest undertakings, is positioned to transform that ambition into reality. Envisioned as a multi-billion-dollar industrial complex, the hub seeks to integrate refineries, storage, petrochemicals, and ancillary infrastructure, creating jobs, attracting investment, and boosting Ghana's energy security and export capacity. Now, questions remain about the project, right? And that's why in this edition of Hot Issues, we examine timelines, financing, environmental safeguards, and how local communities will benefit. Executive Officer of the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation, to explore progress so far, the hurdles that remain, and the broader vision for Ghana's place in the global energy economy. My guest is Dr. Tony Obin.
Yede Kemini Care syrup aba. Kemini Care eboa eyi afichi.
Doctor, welcome to Hot Issues.
Thank you.
First, congratulations on your appointment as CEO of the Petroleum Hub.
Thank you. I have been there since March.
Since March,
Yeah,
yes,
so
that's correct.
You.
But Doc, what really is the job of the Petroleum Hub?
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's quite enormous. The country as a nation, drill some amount of oil, but you need to secure your energy future. And also you could use the crude, the gas, and the petroleum products in general for industrialization. So the intent of the hub, as established by an act of parliament, I think it was Act 1053, 1053, the intention was that create a free zone with a certain mass of land,
right,
and establish infrastructure for refinery, infrastructure for storage, infrastructure for petroleum plants, petrochemical plants. So the idea is that you create a hub for these things to happen, and additionally create a township. In the world, every continent has some petroleum hubs. That is where you have a piece of land or a particular area where refineries are built, tanks, storage tanks are built,
right,
and petrochemical plants are also built in a particular geography, in a particular location. So somebody would want to know why Ghana want to do that. And it's quite simple. As I was saying, in the whole world, every continent has some form of hub. Not just because it's a continent, but because it's a good thing to do. If you go to South America, you find one.
Right.
If you go to Asia and the Middle East, there are dots of petroleum hubs. And if you go to America, you have the petroleum hub, I think Houston and all that. Africa, we don't have anything like that. So the idea was to build, use whatever we have, and invite investors to build refineries, 3 refineries that will produce or that will refine oil of a total of 900,000
barrels.
Million 100,000 barrels per stream day, and then also create tank farms that will store about 10 million cubic meters of materials. I mean, like petroleum materials. Create 5 petrochemical plants, some of which will produce fertilizer, these plastics and other things. You can't do away with petroleum products. You can't do away with that. Even though the world is moving away from fossil fuel, you can't completely do away with that because you still need the dress you're wearing. You still need medicine, which will need some petroleum product. You still need your dress. Most of the things we use has some element of petroleum in that. So you can't avoid that. But we have always used petroleum just to power, and that's why we think that
it's no longer enough.
Yes, but
and this project is estimated to cost us some $60 billion. Is that still the correct estimated figure?
Yes, that's an estimated figure, and it's estimated because somebody sat down and said that if things were to be done today, at the time it was done, I think 3 or 4 years ago, if it were to be done at that time, it would cost 60 billion, including the establishment of a township, a modern township in that enclave. So that was the estimation. But somebody could build a refinery, one refinery, with let's say 1 billion or 1.5 billion, and it might be less than the 60. But it reduced the figure that was used in planning. So for me, yes, you need to have that figure. It was well thought out, but it could be plus or minus.
Could be plus or minus 60
plus
million.
or minus.
I mean, have you had need or have you reviewed that estimated number since you took office?
Yes, we keep reviewing, but we are also doing so because that is the end number. It is not the beginning number.
Okay.
That if we finished everything and we have a petroleum hub of the magnitude that we are looking at, then it might cost us that. It could be less, it could be more, as I said. Look, I was in Singapore not long ago. I went to, and let me say that Singapore doesn't drill one drop of oil. They don't drill oil. But they have, I think, the world's 3rd largest petroleum hub. The 3rd largest petroleum hub in the world is in a country which is the size of Accra, or slightly bigger than Accra, a country which is slightly bigger than Accra.
Right.
And then a country which has to extend its landmass by recovering from the sea, reclaiming part of the sea. So they have that. So it's something that you can do. I went to Malaysia. I went to see the phase 1 of their hub. And the phase 1 of their hub, when they were constructed, they told me, or they told the delegation that went, that they employed close to 80,000 people to construct only the phase 1. So you can imagine the employment opportunities that this thing could create.
We are told that some 780,000 jobs will be created at the end of project life.
Yes. That's if everything is done as is on paper. Then we are. So
let's look at that phase 1 since you have brought it in, right? Again, the documents that we see say that phase 1 will cost us about $12 billion. In fact, for the entirety of the project, the estimated value of $60 billion, government's own commitment to it is some $6 billion.
No. Government has no commitment. You see, government is just creating, and I think this is where one has to emphasize, this is not at the cost to the government. Government is creating a free zone environment. Government will make land available.
Right.
Government will prepare the land, service the land, and say, I have created this for you. We have a sea bordering the land, which is deeper than Tema, the Tema Harbour, deeper than the Takoradi Harbour. So you can create a harbour that can, carry any vessel, that can actually berth any vessel. So I'm creating all these environment, build it. The same as was done in Singapore, where the land was made available, all those economic environment were made positive for them. All the items there, all the refineries, the tanks, whatever, are owned by Shell, Mobil, what is this, Total and all that. So it is not government that is bringing in money. Government is creating the enabling environment. And that's why it's created the petroleum hub. And our duty is to be like the private sector of government, creating that environment for investors. And when I say investors, I quickly add that it is not only foreign people who are investors. So
let's look at the first phase, which is the $12 billion project. That is for a refinery, just one?
No.
Okay, what is that $12 billion phase supposed to do?
The first phase has one refinery, one petrochemical industry. They have 2 jetties and harbor infrastructure that they are going to build. And then they have some tank farm, number of tank farms that they will also build. So it's a phase 1 of it. It's not one refinery. It doesn't cost 12 billion to build one refinery. Well,
I mean, Dangote's cost some 20 billion. So I mean, it's what I'm saying is within market value. But I understand the clarity you try to put to it that it's not just the the 300,000 barrel refinery, no, but it has other things that come along with it. Right. So where are we with that? The phase 1.
We have signed agreement with them. We keep talking to them. It's a consortium of companies, one Ghanaian company, some China state company, I think, and some private equity investors forming a consortium. Now, this consortium, we have an agreement with them. Once we have formally acquired the land, and the land is fully, formally ours or belongs to government, then they would now have to move to fully execute the agreement that we have with them. So we have the contract with them.
Right.
They have committed 12 billion to that over the period of the building of the project. And so we're only waiting for us to get the land. Once the land is secured, then
so phase 1, you have your money already?
It's not in our hands.
Or it's been secured?
Yes, it's been secured.
Phase 1? Yes. The money for phase 1 has been secured?
Yes, by the agreement we have, it's been secured.
Why? What is holding you up in respect to the land?
Okay. You know, when this government came into power, the impression that was created was that the land has been secured.
Right.
In fact, there was a statement made by the former president, Akufo-Addo, that on this note, or in the light of this or something, I have instructed my finance minister to release an amount of 200 million cedis to pay compensation for the land, which would have, paved way for the full acquisition of the land. Because, the law allows government to use its muscles to acquire land. Use force to acquire, force in code, but the requirement, the law also requires that you should have paid compensation, fair and adequate compensation to them, to the owners of the land. Or at least you should demonstrate your ability to pay such compensation before the executive instrument could be released. So that's where we are. And that wasn't done. We are working on that. In fact, this is where we are. There have been issues about the land size and all that, which we're talking with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and then, of course, the Land Commission, to try and secure that. Minister John Jinapo. I also should also commend Minister of Finance, Atuforsen, for pushing Dr. Tuforsen, for pushing hard on that for the land. So, and then of course the Minister for Trade and Industry, because the petrochemical industry side is industry. So I see the Minister of Industry is also very keen to supporting our effort. So all these are going on to ensure that the land is secured for work to commence.
Let's talk about that land a bit further, because there are only months ago that some concerned youths had protested the use of their land. We know a number of things have happened since then. So let's start off with the compensation. Have you reviewed the compensation agreement with the landowners since you came into office?
You see, you secure the land, and then you in fact, the previous government came up with the compensation figures after engagement. In fact, they had a consultant to do all those things, and they had some understanding of the compensation to be paid. But you see, if you don't have the land, you can't pay compensation. You need to, as I speak with you now, there's nobody owns that land. I mean, government doesn't own the land. It still belongs to the landowners.
Okay.
But government is trying to use appropriate legal means to acquire. And when that is done, then you can pay compensation. I mean, it's part of a process of acquisition. If I want to take this thing, you are not giving it to me, or we haven't even negotiated and agreed, it cannot be mine. It still belongs to you from whom I want to buy.
So the 250 million cedis that the previous administration should have released to the people, are you working by the same figure? Is that changing under your administration?
Some things would change.
Okay.
But the 200 is not for all it was initial compensation payment. There are those who have properties on the land. And then there are those who are living on the land. Fortunately for us, there are not many. There are not many people settled on the land that is being acquired, but they must be paid compensation. So definitely once we are close to that, figures will be agreed upon, because there's a clear, legal, lawful way of acquiring land and also working on the rates. After all, when people want to build houses, they go, they buy land, they pay. So those things are all there to be done. But the 250 was only parts. In fact,
part payment.
It will be part payment. It will be for those who have property on the land. Those who have properties on the land, and they would have to be relocated. You have maybe if you have a farm, that farm has to be compensated before you can go. If you have your house there, that house has to be resettled. Or we are not encouraging paying for the houses, because it's a way of making people live in places that are not good. So we would have to resettle them, improve the amenities for them, and then they will be comfortable. I've been involved in that personally, in terms of my previous experience in mines, where you move people from one place to another, and definitely you want to improve on the amenities, improve on what you found. You just don't go and build the same thing and say that, okay, I took this pen from you and therefore I'm giving you the same one. Definitely you have to add to the amenities of those who are inconveniencing.
How many such individuals will government have to resettle?
Yes, the figures are there, but I don't think they will be up to 1,000. I don't think they will be up to 1,000. On those who are living on the land itself, I think we have to resettle about. First, we have adopted one community, which is not necessarily part of the enclave, but which we think needs settlement, because they are located in a very dangerous situation.
Okay.
They call it Old Kablesuazo. The community is at the beach. It's just at the front of the sea. And then behind them, there is a lagoon. So when the tides are high, they're pushing them back. And when the lagoon rises, it also pushing them, hemming them in. So the community themselves are actually, urging us to resettle them. Good thing is that they have their sister communities that are on the hill. They call them the new Kablesiazo. I think part of those who are there who have moved to a different place. So they will not have a place of where to settle them. If we don't settle them, it won't be like the hub hasn't done the right thing, but it will be a good thing. So we have assured them that they will be resettled. There are not many. There won't be more than 200. So they will be resettled once things are clear.
Compensation isn't your only problem when it comes to the land. It will appear that even the ownership of the land itself too will cause problems for this project, because we've heard chiefs of the area say that these are stool lands, nobody really owns this, which means that government must be negotiating with them and not individual families. How are you playing around that? How are you maneuvering that problem?
Okay. I mean, land issues are always very sensitive in Ghana. In some other countries, all lands belong to the state. So when the state needs it, they pay compensation for users, and that's it. But be it as it's made, we are in a country where lands are owned by families, by stools, by tendanars, by whatever. Now, what you do, and for us, the PHDC will be supporting, because it will be a land commission's issue, because they know how to handle land matters. We'll provide all the necessary support. I'm sure that will not stand in the way of government acquisition anyway.
But how not? Because if you cannot determine the owner of the land, you might end up compensating the wrong person. And that person will then take government on.
But yes. So that can be done. I mean, we don't want to. Everything has to be done harmoniously and peacefully.
Indeed.
And that's the way. That's the best way. That's the ideal way to do it. But government has the power, the right of eminent domain, according to law, to acquire any piece of land. The conditions are payment of adequate compensation. So if the establishment, and I believe that shouldn't be a big problem, if the establishment of ownership delays, it is only the payment that would have delayed, but the land could have been acquired, because government needs the land. Government cannot wait for people to fight over who owns the land. I think they can set aside, negotiate, look at, and even the courts will be there to also determine who owns the land. But I don't think that will be a problem. I'm sure the Lands Commission or the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, they have a fair idea of who owns the land, because I'm sure the records will be there. The records will be there in wherever they should be. And so when it gets to that point, we will be able to walk through that.
When do you think there will be finalization to this compensation matter, so that the project can move forward?
I believe it will be soon, but I don't know when. Okay. So because I see that senior leadership in government are talking about that now. They see the benefit of it. They see, I mean, if I told you about Malaysia, where about 80-something thousand people were employed on the phase one alone, and Malaysia is more technological than us, so I'm sure they would use more technology than us. So we would have to use more human beings. So we are likely to even employ more than Malaysia, unless we have 10 key projects where you just bring the things to come and fix. But even that, we will employ quite a lot. So I think this is very central to government interest to create employment for its people. I know President Mahama is very, very keen to ensuring that people are employed. There's development in every nook and cranny of this country. And this is an opportunity for us to do that and to support the people of Jomoro and Nzima. And I don't think they will be able to even provide the number of workers if I look at what I saw in Malaysia.
I mean, but despite what you have said, the concern for the youth is, and indeed at some point for the chiefs as well, is that they don't know what they are going to be getting from it. You remember they had even asked for a referral hospital as part of the project. So it means that the people around the exclave or in the exclave of the petroleum hub chosen location, they haven't bought into the idea that this will impact them. And you can understand why. When we started drilling oil in the western region, we were told that this will be the land of milk and honey. Years down the line, the oil city has not lived up to expectation. Why should the people believe that petroleum hub will be different?
Okay. The petroleum hub will be very different because it's a downstream, midstream project. Fortunately or unfortunately, we found the oil fields about 62 kilometers offshore, so people don't see what's going on and all that. And unfortunately, for reasons that I don't understand, people work there and go home. Mm-hmm. It wasn't made in a way that people will stay in Takoradi and therefore there will be more, economic activities over there. Thankfully, GMPC is building an office which may be, or has built an office, which will be a basis of attracting people. But in the case of the hub, the thing is being built there physically. They will need people to build it. They will need people to manage it. And again, as I said, you have the hardcore infrastructure, like the refinery, like the storage tanks, like the petrochemical plants. And then you have a township, which may have some ancillary activities there. The intention, the original things that is there include a quaternary hospital. It's like Legon Hospital being built there. We have a banking enclave where all the banks could have their offices there and play roles. Don't forget that we are very close to Ivory Coast. So it could also be an area that can do some interactions with the Ivory Coast. So the modern townships, there's also settlement in terms of accommodation, hotels, and all that.
But you see, will this be open to town folk? Or this is a very bourgeoisie establishment where only the top brass of petroleum hub workers can afford to use?
It is possible that you would have some people in the area who would also be able to handle those areas. Some will be working there. Some will work there. And the generation which is now, the people who are there now, they are not going to live forever. The next generation that comes would have a much higher standard, and they would probably want to be living there and not the hut that I was born in or something like that. So we are looking more into the future. I've been talking about dreaming big lately, but I think that's the kind of vision that in Singapore, when they started, if you read the Lee Kuan Yew's book, people were, they were having their goat and sheep. And in fact, when they built the high-rise houses, some of them went up with their goats and all that. Now you can't have that. Now nobody is rearing goats in Singapore now.
Right.
Nobody is doing so. Initially, you need to manage and make sure that those who are there now are comfortable. They get some of what they want. You can't get everything that you want, but those who come later on, they will be the major beneficiary. What we are doing now, maybe by the time they finish, I may not be even interested to go there again. By the time we finish and it's nice, looking nice, I may not be much interested in that. So, we look at the future than now.
I see. I mean, so then if a resident or a town folk asked you now, how will Petroleum Hub change my life? What would be your response to that person? My
response would be this. One, there will be improved infrastructure there. There will be roads that, to the hub. There will be water. Already we are doing, even though we haven't started, we don't have money, we've started doing some small things by improving the water supplies of some of the communities. But I think when the hub starts, it would even be higher because that is, we are building a high quality community. So you cannot make the rest too poor adjoining them. Those who are living there, now living in the areas, that will be used, they will be resettled.
Okay.
And in the resettlement, the amenities will be improved.
We'll take our very first break. When we come back, we'll look at a few issues to do with redesign of the landscape. Again, some confusion around that. We'll also look at how competitive this hub will be once, it comes up or starts working. You're watching Hot Issues. My guest is Dr. Tony Obin. He's CEO of the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back. It's still Hot Issues here on TV3. My guest in this edition is CEO of the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation, Dr. Tony Obin. Doc, again, thank you so much for your patience and sitting down with us in this edition. But I want us to wrap up with the concerns that, the youth and in past the chiefs have raised about the hub and its potential impact on their lives. One of the things we've heard is a proposal from the youth to reduce the acreage of land to be used for the hub. We know that in recent times, the president had more or less endorsed the 5,000 acres to be used, and so and then right after that, in fact, that is not just the end. Right after that, we know that another chief has said, we are okay with the 20,000 acres. We will give you the 20,000 acres. Don't use just 5,000. How is the petroleum hub dealing with this difference in what the people want as against what the chiefs also want?
Okay, thank you very much. I think what the president said is what is close to, or is what would be looked at very carefully. The president said 5,000 hectares. Okay. 5,000 hectares. I think that was what he said. Now, the 20,000 acres, one third of that land is actually not going to be used for the building of the hub. One third of that land is wetland. Okay. You have massive area of wetland and lagoons. So what the hub thought of was to take those land and protect them, the land, those massive wetlands, and protect them so that it will not be abused because they are environmentally sensitive. And we our ministry is Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. So the ministry is poised in transitioning into green energy. So we thought we could convert that, use that for carbon sequestration and all those things. Okay. So if we take that out, then indeed the 5,000 hectares that the president said is okay.
So I mean, again, if it was 5,000 hectares that the president has said, yes, in acreage, that's about 20,000 acres.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm confused.
Yes.
Okay, so in acreage, what would that be?
In acreage, I think it will be about 8,000, about 13,000 13,000 acres.
Okay, so that's more than half.
Yes, that's more than half. But that is what will be needed. You know, that's unless we decide
But the young people are saying that, look, we've seen it with the Osajifo badge, where the lands around were collected, they were not used for anything at all, and people were just thrown out of their lands. We don't want to see the same thing with this. So use 5,000 acres. When you need more, you take more. But don't take all of it without developing it at the same time.
5,000 hectares, the president said.
No, I mean, I am speaking in terms of what the young people are asking for. Why is that proposal not good enough for the project?
Because for phase, I mean, like one phase would take about roughly 3,000 hectares. One phase would take roughly about 3,000 hectares. And of course, when you build petrochemical industry generally or refineries, you need buffers for them. And then also don't forget that we're looking at creating a township that will also improve on the amenities of people in the Jomoro area and in the Nzema area. So it's all in the good of the people of the area and Ghana generally. It is not as if land is being taken away. And I think we have explained that to the community. They understood it. That is why some of the chiefs are saying, but if that is so, we are ready. In fact, there was one chief who said the entire Jomoro land is about 600 and, he gave a figure, 790 hectares or so. So 20 hectares alone would not do anything. That's what some of the chiefs said. But we are not fighting over the land. We are trying to express the rationale for the size of the land. So when the president said 5,000 hectares, we thought, well, that's doable.
That's doable.
Because that would be exactly what the hub would require if we have to go through the same level of development that we intend.
But you're still going to take the rest for the wetlands.
The wetland, no. So then we won't take it. So we can keep it, we can leave it out, and then do what we want to do anyway without having to take it. Because after all, if we take the wetland, it means we pay more. So now, if you are not taking it, it reduces the amount of compensation, land compensation that you want to pay. And I think because people were talking about this, and so the president wanting to ensure that development takes place as quickly as possible, said, okay, if that is the case, why don't you reduce it to this level? What you were saying that when you need, you go for it. You know, I have done this land access, land management thing before. Once people see that you're developing some high-level thing, they will buy land around the area at the current price and then keep it for... So when you need it, at the time you need it, the price will go up seriously for a hub. So you take it now, you pay for it, the owners or whoever receives it saves and make money out of that, and then the land is used for its intended purpose. After all, if the land is not used and it belongs to government, government can always lease it back to the people. But the land must work for the people. You see, the land cannot just be fallow. I mean, fallow land is okay, but it must also work for the people.
I see.
Yeah.
So will the hub sit on a 20,000 acre land, including a wetland, or it will sit on a 13,000 acre land?
The hub itself.
No, I mean the entire project. Don't look at the machinery of the hub, but the entire project.
The entire project will sit on the 13,000 acres. The remaining 6,000 or so acres would be developed into, will be protected, so to speak. You can develop that into tourist attraction areas. So you can work with the Ministry of Tourism to develop something out of the wetland. And wetlands are a source of, you can even get carbon credit out of managing the wetland and then all those things. So the intention is not to deprive the people of Jomoro from their lands. No, that is not the intention. The intention is to have a place to develop it into higher value economic activity that in all likelihood will benefit the people of the area, and then we take it from there. So
they also say that the 900,000 cedis being offered as compensation is not enough. I asked you earlier whether or not you are
900,000 cities.
Excuse me, 900 million cities that you are offering for compensation is not enough. I asked you earlier whether or not you, as a new CEO, will review that 900 million cities. Your answer was that.
My answer is that we haven't actually.
No, but so do you plan to review that 900 million cities?
We don't actually do that as a hub. We will allow the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, in this case, the Land Commission, which is competent to do those things, to handle that. I am sure they did the costing of the land, they did the costing of properties on it and all that. And the 900,000 or 1.1 billion in total will not only be for the land owners, it's not be, but it will be also for those who have properties on the land,
including farms.
And those who have properties on the land, they will be paid according to the required.
But your experience in land asset management, right? Is this fair compensation for the size of land that is being taken away from the people, including those who have property on it?
Well, I am sure those who did the calculation would have looked at the fair and adequate principle.
In your experience?
But because I haven't done the underground, valuation, these people are competent valuers. So they would have, looked at the values of the land as present. Remember that land, over time, the value will change. Once the hub is there, the surrounding lands would have higher value, no doubt about it. I think if you go to Ghana Gas, I think just because Ghana Gas was established in that enclave, the lands around the Ghana Gas area escalated. It's natural for land, every land developer will tell you that. So I'm sure they would have done series of work on that and determined that. And if it were not so...
Could the government do more than 900 million cedis?
I'm sure if I was selling my thing and you're going to give me more than what has been evaluated, I'll get.
Based on the hub's budget, do you have room or the capacity to do more than 900 million?
But you see, it's not what we want to do more. I'm sure it's what people want to take more. But the truth is that the issue is not the amount. The issue is more about how to manage the amount.
Okay.
You pay, let's say, 1 billion to somebody or to a community. And if you don't guide that person or that group, that 1 billion will become a problem. Because in the past, he's okay with his 1,000 cedis, 500 cedis that he gets. All of a sudden, you give him, let's say, 10,000 cedis. It is good, but then how to manage the 10,000 cedis so that the 10,000 cedis works for him or her is what has to be focused on. I think the approach would be to ensure that the compensation paid you will not be for immediate consumption. Will not be for, you have to be. I mean, it is important, even if it is not in the plan of, let's say, the Land Commission. I think it will be something that the hub has to do, educate recipient on how to use their company. I've been involved in a situation where the person says, "It is my own money. Don't tell me what to do."
That value addition that will come to the neighborhood or to the environment, the locals are afraid of that also because they say it will push up the cost of living, and then they give example. We've seen it before. What assurances do you give them as to, in terms of the safeguards for their own well-being in the community?
Yes, so there should be some safeguards. In my experience in the mines, sometimes you support the community over time. Sometimes the community has, even those that are not resettled, they see their amenities improving, their livelihoods improving. Definitely, there are some things that happen when you develop, you do these massive programs everywhere and anywhere. You would have some imbalances occurring, but you have to reduce that to the barest minimum.
Right.
So I believe those things will be taken into account, yes, when we get to that point.
When you get to that point, I see. How much has government expended so far on this project?
I don't think government has spent any huge amount of money on this project yet. It's all about keeping the staff and the staff administrative work and a few consultancy work that were done to ensure that the place will be mapped, the place will be identified, and all those things. Yeah, but I don't think it's a huge amount that has been spent so far. But I think the most important thing is what is the value? What is the value proposition here? You know, when you look at Africa, and I think that's where my big dream issue comes in. We import close to 85% of our petroleum product consumption. The petroleum product consumption, 85%, they are imported from Europe or Asia, Southeast Asia, or something like that. So why don't we do it ourselves? Why don't we do it here and consume what what we import, you know, and then develop out of that? So I think there's a market for it. There's about, let's say, 70% availability of market. Then you go to Nigeria. Nigeria is the largest producer of crude, of oil in Africa. But Nigeria imports over 60% of its consumption. So the crude is drilled from Nigeria, sent out, and then comes back, like Ghana.
Which is pretty much what we also do.
Yes, we also do. Now, well, even ours, you can forgive us a little bit, because when we are producing less than 200,000 barrels a day, it doesn't compare with 250 million barrels a day or something like that. But when I say the same with us, it's more about our gold, about our diamonds, about our manganese and bauxite. We produce them, and crudely we export. So, and then they come back to us at a higher price. So that's what we need to avoid. Now, Africa.
So what's the estimated revenue you hope to make across the region?
I mean, what do you mean by estimated?
Estimatedly, how much revenue do you hope that the hub will bring in for the Ghanaian people once it's up and running?
Huge one, because don't forget, we have the petrochemicals. Petrochemicals are going to produce things like plastics, pipes, many other materials that will be used, either consumed directly. We have a fertilizer plant that already we have an agreement for the construction of a fertilizer plant on the hub and all that. So the integration with the economy will be huge. And that is where we'll see the amount. I mean, if you pin me down to figures of what we are going to get, I think it will be, you know, I may be giving you figures that may be underestimation or overestimation. But if you look at the integration, then you see that having our gas, for instance, will not have to be just used to power, but you can also use the product of out of the gas, like condensate and other things, for other manufacturing activities. There are a lot of things that can be done with those petrochemical inputs. So that is what we have to look at. We have to look at in fact, our estimate is that this is going to boost our economy by about 70%. 70%, which is huge.
Okay.
You know, we are looking at close to 800,000 direct and indirect jobs when it comes to effect. And I believe it because of what I have seen. What I've seen in Singapore, Singapore and Malaysia. And Malaysia, they are only on their phase one. Only phase one. It's huge project, very effective project. They have a township built. In fact, in Singapore, you don't see the township there. But I think in Rotterdam, you see, you know, some level of accommodation, settlement, and all those things.
I see.
So it's a good thing. It's a good dream. That's the way countries develop. So we can't develop with small dreams.
This phase one, I know the start is based on the acquisition of the land.
Yeah.
But in terms of your timelines, when do you hope to finish phase one?
As a matter of fact, phase one should have started in the second half of this year.
So you are late. You are behind schedule.
Obviously, we are late.
And it's because of the land acquisition.
Exactly. So that's why the government is working very hard to ensure that the land is acquired. And of course, there were all these issues of this land is big, land is small, this and all those things, which is, the other radical thing is, okay, then stop. And when you stop, I think the effect of stopping is not good to think about at all. You can't say that because of that, stop. No. I believe that it's a good project. It's a project that will have a long-term impact on the people of Jomoro, Nzima, Western region, and Ghana. You can see it when you go to other places and see it. And it shouldn't be because we don't produce enough oil to feed that, because these things, you bring your own crude from elsewhere. Those who want to do it.
I mean, which brings me to the point of whether or not we will be competitive. One, because a lot of the oil fields are not wholly owned by government, and these are private investors who want the the highest bidder to have their product. And so we see a lot of them take their products out of the country. And so how competitive will the hub be to ensure that even though we are seeing a decline in our oil production, the small that we have here will be brought to the petroleum hub, even before we go outside?
Yes. Okay. Look, if you have a modern refinery that will refine as much as a refinery in, let's say,
in the UAE,
in the US,
okay,
would do, why would you transport your crude from? I mean, it's going to do the same work, exactly the same work, or even better, because this will be new and more modern than the refinery that you're using now. Why would you transport that from Ghana to several kilometers away, rather than bring it to 60 kilometers or less, because the Jomoro enclave is closer to the current current fields. So why would you do that? In any case, Africa and Ghana is part of African continental free trade area, and there's customs free trading possibilities. Africa has found a lot of oil. Namibia has oil, Mozambique has oil, Angola has oil. I mean, all these oils, and they keep finding. So why would they not bring that to the hub if they are short of a refinery that is modern, that is competitive to refine over there? They would. They wouldn't take it to.
And if they don't, what would you do? But
that's business, so you have to. It's not. You are not going to put a hatchet on the neck and say, "Come and refine here." Of course, in our own, if government decides that, look, this is a sovereign country, we want you to just refine. We are not saying you can refine and take it wherever you are going. That is different. However, you have to make it competitive in a way that bringing it to Jomoro would be cheaper and better than sending it to Kazakhstan or somewhere. So it must be economic. It must be business. People bring their crude to Singapore to refine, because they see the economic conditions generally, they see security, they see stable economy and all that. So they will bring them there. They will mine, they will drill from elsewhere.
But Doc, when you look at the complexity of our economy, the fact that when we are able to send our crude outside, we earn some money, albeit we still buy refined versions and bring back.
What we earn when we send our crude outside?
I mean, but we do earn forex. We can't.
But this one you earn forex.
Or is your question as a result that you don't think that we earn enough from the raw crude that we?
Oh, definitely.
And,
I mean,
and the hub will give us more money from the refined.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like exporting your bauxite. When you export bauxite and you just do the first refinery into ingot, the price goes up about 30 or 40%.
Okay.
Just that.
Okay.
You know, we export manganese without turning it to them. All we do is that when we mine, we wash, we just put water and then we export. That wouldn't earn you anything. You know, but when it goes, why did our colonial people not encourage us to do our own to build our own industry? Because they know that the value, when it goes there, they take it, and we can suffer the consequences by buying in high price. So definitely, eventually, I know that some of them have agreement with their marketing off-takers and all that. No, I don't think government is interested in intervening like that. But eventually, it may be wiser and cheaper to refine at our hub.
The hub will have a lot of convincing to do in the markets to be able to get even your off-takers or people to come.
No, because we are not building.
Again, because there is an example. Again, I'll go back to the Dangote example. Because while the Dangote example is just one refinery, it's the same business idea, right? That we want to refine locally.
Yes.
We know that even at operational capacity of 70 to 80%, Dangote is having to go outside his country to get crude to refine.
Absolutely.
Right. So for you that you are even looking at end of project construction, you will have 3 refineries giving you 900,000, almost 1/3 more than what the Dangote refinery is able to produce. Then you have to find plenty crude from across the world to be able to use.
What the crude that is around the world, even in Africa alone, will be more than be available. 1 million, it's what, 900,000. 1 million barrels, 1 million barrels, let's say, a day. That is something that could be found even within Africa. However, for the first the consortium, the off-takers, there are people who know where to get their fuel. They have already indicated where they are getting their source. It's a business. It's not for those who haven't gone into it before. It is for those who are already in it and want to find better ways of reducing their costs, safer way of doing it. Remember that people are talking about fossil fuel and all that. And so Africa becomes an area where you can refine easily. People are now removing even their refineries to other places for other socioeconomic reasons and political reasons. So Ghana will be the hub to sort of provide. People are going to use the petrochemicals. People are going to use the crude, the fuels for a long time. So I think we don't have a problem with that.
I see.
Those who come would definitely, if you come and sign that you're going to do this, you would have done your work to know where you're going to source your crude.
How much financing have you attracted so far?
Financing, we don't need to attract financing and put down and say, this is the money. What we do is to have financial or investment companies that are willing to partner. Most of the people who come, they come with their own finances, or they come in consortium. This one is bringing finance. This one is bringing this. That one is bringing this.
So in total, how much financial commitment does the hub have as of today?
Several. In fact, we have some serious discussions with over 40 companies. Serious. In fact, overall, we have about 70 investor interest shown. At least 2 of them have committed. 1 we have agreement with for phase 1. We have also agreement for some of the ancillary developers who are willing to bring in some money. There are those who are still talking and trying to clarify their thoughts on what we're doing. We have a commitment by a Qatari company that is also going to build a fertilizer plant. I'm sure they also have an arrangement with the Ministry of Agric. They have an offtake arrangement with the Ministry of Agric. So when they produce the fertilizers, it will be taken, some percentage will be taken by the ministry. So I think we have gone far. Sometimes we don't want to talk plenty, because when you talk, everybody you create more expectations. But I think we also have to do that so that people who are outside will know that we are serious. Because when there was a change of government, when the government, most of the investors started asking, are you still going to do the hub?
Yeah.
Should we still follow the hub issue? Yeah. So it was good President Mahama decided, and true to his character, that anything that is good, he will keep. Anything that is not, he will not keep. He thought this one, because this one was actually thought through by President Atamils, but the location was going to be a different place. I think it was in Takoradi or something like that. And then the previous government also, the last government also sort of crystallized it. So it is something that we need to do as a country. This will be one of the very big projects in Africa. It is second for now. In the next 10 years, if it comes off, it will be the second biggest project. The other one, the first one will be the Inga project. It's a dam project. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
When the petroleum hub is successful, what happens to toll?
Oh, Petroleum Hub and Tor, we are brothers and sisters.
Okay.
You know, people should not be afraid of refineries. You know, it's a business thing. Tor could even come and site at the Petroleum Hub and still be Tor. Tor, you know, at the moment, Tor is doing very well. The leadership there are fantastic. They are very serious people. I know my colleague Combat, very, very serious. But currently, but they have not been producing, but very soon I'm sure they will start producing. But when they start producing, they'll be producing 45,000 barrels a day.
But from a management point of view, and you have been there for a very long time, wouldn't it have been a wiser process to test ourselves with our ability to revamp Tor than move to a very ambitious project like the hub?
You see, Tor was built by Kwame Nkrumah, 45,000 barrels a day. And we are still living with a small 45,000. We should dream big. Tor could be part of the dream. There's nothing wrong with having Tor.
But if you don't do the small one, why should we trust you with the big one?
No, look, this one, that's why the model is different.
Right.
Tor is a government refinery. This one is a land that has been found, and we are going to make it available for those who will build on it. So it is not government which is putting in money to build a refinery. You see, that thing has to be clarified. It is it's a private sector people, and I know some Ghanaians are very serious working with some Saudi partners. They are interested, and before long you see that a Ghanaian also has partnered with